What I'm saying is, if I was someone in Gaza whose family had been killed, I'd be very angry, obviously. I'd probably be angry.
But you will have the civility not to kill civilians.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you have a prime minister, I will not.
Why would I
but if
kill
I'm the
women
prime
and
minister
children?
of Israel, I will be justified to act with no civility.
Did I
because
say
what
that?
happened. No, but I'm saying.
But why are you arguing with other people who are not here?
But no, but the argument
Just
is
talk
crazy.
to me. Bassem, you're here with me.
I know, but the argument is crazy.
Why?
We are trying to find justification or other ways for Israel to react differently, as if that's the only way.
Can I just say?
Because when I tell you not this, so you tell me, so what? As if I have to come up with a solution for the murderous prime minister who's been killing people for the past 6 months.
No.
Welcome back, everybody, to Z's Political Couch. We're going to continue on with part 2 of this series. If you missed part 1, worry not, I'll link it at the end of this video. We're going to dive headfirst into this roller coaster of emotions, frustration, and political fever with none other than Bassem Youssef and Konstantin of Trigonometry. But picture this, a lively exchange between Bassem, who seems determined to play the world's most relentless game of dodgeball with truth. The scene is set, the stakes are high, and the tension, well, it's thick enough to slice with a knife. Let's cut into it.
You're interested in peace, right? Is that fair to say? You want the killing to stop. So do I. So do most people. And that's what I said to you at the beginning. Most people want the killing to stop, and they're trying to work out in a very difficult. I mean, there's a reason it's been going on for as long as it's been going on. It's complicated and it's difficult.
It's not complicated. It's not really complicated. It's a group of people who took up other people and continue killing them. It's not that complicated. It's very obvious.
Well, if it was that simple, it would have been resolved by now.
No, it will not be resolved because people who are evil have the power, and you cannot do anything in order to change that. I mean, they are killing you in your face, and you're saying we're killing people.
You try. Okay. You try.
Can I just say, firstly, this reminds me of my childhood. So thank you, guys.
Who's mummy and who's daddy? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't see gender. It's 2024. Having said that, I think it's very important for people to understand, because obviously passions are very high when it comes to this subject. What is it like for the ordinary Palestinian before October 7th?
What's it like?
What was it like? So just explain, what is it like to live in that area? What rights do they have? What rights are they being denied? Etc. Because I think people need to understand.
So there's this kind of like image that, oh, we disengaged from Gaza. We left you guys to do whatever you want. But actually you disengage and then you put a siege. There was no access to air, sea, and land. Everything has to go through something. There have been actually a time where Palestinians were put on a calorie count. So the kind of food that was admitted, the kind
Bassem,
of...
can I just ask a question? I know this is very passionate to you. If you could just slow down slightly, because people...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So basically, I know that they've been used a lot like an open-air concentration camp or prison. 2 million people lived in the most concentrated, more dense area in the world. And you have no rights. You have no rights to travel. Everything has to go through another authority that controls your food, your electricity, your water. Some parts of Gaza, you're only on 2 hours a day to get water. I mean, you can go on and on and on. There's just like massive books like written. If you're living in the West Bank, your land is being taken away from you, being eaten into your land every day. Your house could be just like settlers can go in, take your land and kick you out. To go through like a 1 kilometer distance, you have to go to like 7 or 8 checkpoints. As we speak right now, there's 2 units in Hebron, and this is something called Yehuda Shaul, who is the founder of Breaking the Silence. He's an ex-IDF soldier. He said, like, as we speak right now, there's 2 units on an 8-hour shift in Hebron that their only mission is to maintain the presence or make their presence felt, which they can go into your house, a house that intelligence tells you that there's no threat, goes in, separate men and women, ruffle the feather, ruffle everything, break everything, go from house to house. This is like the daily life of Palestinians. They have no humanity, they have no rights. Even if you are in the West Bank, I'm not even talking about Gaza, you are not allowed as a Palestinian to have any fertile land in Area C, which is all of the fertile land. You as a Palestinian, your water share is 1/5 or 1/6 of a settler. You're not allowed to dig for wells. You're not allowed to dig for water. You're not allowed to actually, even if you, it's a very inhumane way, and it's been going like this for 75 years, and nobody's doing anything about it. So at a certain point, you as a Palestinian, you can IDF soldiers can come in, take you, put you in prison, put you on administrative detention for months and even years. There's some that have been in jail for 10, 15 years with absolutely no accusation. Israel is the only country in the world that tries children in front of a military court with 99.7% conviction rate. There's nothing that never happens anywhere. So that is even, I didn't even scratch the surface.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And when you do that on daily basis for 75 years, at a certain point, people will crack, and people will throw rocks. If you throw rocks, you're a child, your limbs are broken. If you are a Palestinian and you take a dagger and want to fight back, you'll be, of course, killed and you'll be labeled as a terrorist. But what happens is that they are responding to the daily terrorism that has been happening for years. And nobody is caring because we have already decided that those group of people do not have the right of equal living or equal right. And that's very distressing. I'm not at all I don't like Hamas, by the way. I don't like the whole idea about Islamization of the conflict, because I think that's the worst thing, that like putting religion has become Islam against Judaism. That's wrong.
Okay, agreed. Absolutely.
Because Palestinians also, there's a lot of Christians, and those Christians are having also their rights are taken away.
Yeah.
Even if you're a Christian from England and you go there, people will spit on you from the Jewish side because they think like, you know, Christians are like are lesser than them. So it's not just like a Muslim against Judaism thing, right? So we have all of these rights taken away as human beings. And at a certain point, you will rise. At a certain point, and I talk this about like, it's so easy, killing and oppressing people remotely has become so easy. You're sitting behind a screen with your remote and you're flying a drone, and you kill them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this kind of remote killing, we became so, you know,
desensitized.
At a certain point, we had to have a sword and I have to put all of my force to drive into your body, right? Now it's like, pim, and a whole block is gone. And I make this example in many other podcasts. I say, if I go and take a knife and I kill you, I'm a terrorist. But if I'm sitting in my $64 million F-16, pushing a button, dropping an $16,000 A4 bomb on a whole block, decimating you, that's war.
Yeah.
If I go in and I kidnap you, that's terrorism. But I go in with my units and I kidnap 100 people per day and put them in my prisons and have legal background because of my course help me and put you in prison, that's not kidnapping, that's imprisonment.
I'm really glad you made the point about Islam and Judaism. I have family who come from the Middle East. My grandfather was Lebanese. He was Lebanese Christian. And this conflict is much more complex than people who boil it down to Islam versus Judaism. It's quite a facile way of explaining what is actually a very serious, complicated conflict. So that is the situation for the average Palestinian. And as we've said, we've only barely scratched the surface. Now, what role does the government in Gaza play? Something like Hamas, how much control do they have? How do they rule that particular area? Is it a democracy? All of these things.
No, it's not. I mean, like, this is like a group of people who are popular. By the way, I apologize for if my reaction was a little bit over the top.
No, but Bassem, just on that, the only thing I hope we can talk better on is, I'm really trying to understand your perspective. I'm not trying to like drive talking points or anything like that. So maybe when we talk more later, I hope we can do it in that spirit. That's all. You don't need to apologize.
No, but I think like the reason I reacted, I have to understand, because I've been hearing these talking points. What else can we do? It's like, guys,
but they're not talking points from you.
Yeah.
And I have more questions for you.
But here's the thing. I mean, I don't want to go to the history or there, but like,
of course.
But when this invasion happened, there was elections. It was a free election. Hamas took 53% of the vote, not even the vast majority. When that happened, there was like a boycott, and then Israel put them under siege without any bullet being shot. Yeah. And the story that has been put into people's mind: we disengage. They elected Hamas. They killed Fatah, the other Palestinian authority, and they started throwing rocks at us. That did not happen. There was like a whole 18 months between the election and the stoppage of ceasefire. And in that area, Israel went in and killed the head of the security forces in Palestine. So Hamas retaliated and kidnapped Gilad Shalit. And then there was no more ceasefire. And then Israel attacked Gaza. So the whole idea about we let them go, they voted Hamas, and they try to attack us. That's not the truth. Now, there is a local authority, which is Hamas, which is, of course, like they're trying to govern Gaza. But how can you govern a place where you don't have any access to the outside world when you're on the siege, right? And if you put people with their backs to the wall, they will have resistance, and their resistance, you'll not like it because it's resistance. It could be about what you call it, about Islamic, you call it terrorist, you call it jihadi, you call it whatever. If a foreign country came into come in London today, came in England and occupied you,
We'd probably roll over, mate.
no, there will people that will be militarized, and they will use religion, and they will have Jesus, and they will have the cross, and because but when people pushed into the world, they would be radicalized.
Yes, of course.
Right. So you cannot just push people into that situation. And then we talk about Hamas, right? The Netanyahu in 2019, there was a recording of him bragging about financing Hamas. He was talking about that openly. People talk about like how Palestinians were given many opportunities and they neglected away, and yet you have Netanyahu on record saying that he has personally sabotaged the Oslo Accords. So you have all of these in front of you. You have all of these people taking like, we're not going to have a two-state solution. Palestinians don't have the right to exist. Palestinians don't have the right to have a state. And then you're talking about the reaction, and then you focus on that. So every time you tell me Hamas, I will tell you Netanyahu. Every time you tell me October 7th, I'll tell you what happened before it. Every time to tell me what should we do now, it's like, I don't know, because you have made this happen. You know, like, remember, you've marched against the war in Iraq. How did that work for us? How did that work is the word saver? After all of the trillions of dollars being sold, all of the British soldiers and the American soldiers that were killed, all of the people who were killed in Afghanistan, did that actually work?
Iraq didn't attack us, is the difference. That you have to accept that's a different conflict, right?
Absolutely. But again, you went in and you made an excuse. The WMDs that never existed.
Agreed.
Yeah,
right?
agreed. Yeah.
And then you are now making other excuses. And you're making other excuses to decimate that. Even if
How do you
Hamas,
mean?
If Hamas attacked you, it does not justify killing all of those people, decimating a whole region, a whole city, a whole place.
I don't think anyone feels that's, well, no, I'm sure there are some people who feel that. But as I said, I think when we started the conversation, I think most people are horrified at what's happening.
Yeah, but
rightly so.
But here's the thing. There is a certain narrative that stayed in people's mind that made them justify what happens. First of all, the number of people that died on October 7th. And yet nobody's talking about the Hannibal Directive and how the Israeli forces that were actively involved in killing many of the hostages. And this is my problem about like how the media covers this. Do you have Israeli channels and media like Artists and Israel Today and Channel 12 who talked openly about the choice of the usage of the Hannibal Directive that have inflated the number of casualties from the Israeli side because their own troops were bombing or shooting at the kibbutz. Right?
So what do you think? What do you think is the? Okay, sorry,
let me finish this.
Yeah.
And yet, the Western media went with all of the killing that happened October 7th, and nobody talked about the Israeli reports. You talk about like the gang rape, and then the Israeli report that decapitated babies, and the Israeli reports like that didn't happen. And yet the Western media did not even translate these reports. And yet these stories were the reason that people accepted the massive killing of Palestinians because like, oh, look at what happened. They raped people, they decapitated babies, they killed all of those people. But if you knew these information, it's like, wait a minute, this is truly a disproportionate response.
Yeah.
I feel Konstantin is having a real hard time grasping the truth. It's as if he's pre-programmed coming into this podcast to refuse anything Bassem spews out. Bassem's passionate words shed light on the truth behind the double standards and war crimes being committed. The complexity of this issue isn't as complicated as it's made out to be. What we're witnessing is a fight for power, oppression, resistance, and real estate. The stories of Palestinians are isolated. They reflect a global struggle of justice and humanity. Bassem's words should resonate long after this conversation ends. Let's not accept what we're told by mainstream media. Keep questioning, keep learning, and above all, keep supporting the fight for truth. Because the real battle isn't just in the streets of Gaza or the halls of power. It's within us all, challenging the lies we've been fed and seeking justice for those who have been silenced. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope to catch you all on the next one.